Good morning or good evening to all of you out there. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alex Ago. I'm the Director of Programming at the USC School of Cinematic Arts. And this is our second day of the third annual Nollywood in Hollywood Showcase, a presentation of the USC School of Cinematic Arts, O2A Media, and the American Cinematheque. This year, we're bringing it to you live over Zoom, and I hope that you'll take advantage both of the Q&A that we have to follow The Ghost in the House of Truth today, and come back for our third and final screening tomorrow at 12 o'clock p.m. Pacific time for Merry Men 2. Today we have a great panel of guests from the film, including director Akina Motoso, producer Ego Boyo, and actors Kate Henshaw and Fabienne Adeoye Loyede. So please stick around. I'm going to now turn this over to Ose Oyamendan, the producer of the festival. And then when we start to share the film, we're going to run the whole thing directly through Zoom webinar. It runs about 68 minutes. And then afterwards, we'll come back for the discussion. So I'll kick it over to you, Ose.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us again. And thanks to all those who joined last night. We had a great time with Living in Bondage. Thank you so much to Hilliard Guest for being a great moderator last night. And thanks to Ramsey Noir and Steve. So tonight, this afternoon, we're going to have a really great time. This is one of the films that I've been looking forward to seeing, actually. The Ghost and House of Truth, directed by Akina Motoso, featuring Fabienne Loyede, Kate Henshaw, Lala, and a host of other stars. Before we start, I just want to introduce a couple of people that have been great for us. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Emeka Mba. Can Emeka come on? Can we have him on with your video? So Mr. Emeka Mba, or Gwefi Emeka Mba, I think you want me to say that, is the former Director General of the Nigeria Film, Video and Video Censors Board and the Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation, and is one of the leading drivers of Nollywood and trying to expose it to the world. And currently is the head of our jury and one of the brains behind these operations, especially in Nigeria. Without him, we're not here. So Emeka, take it away.
Well, thank you, sir. It's great to be on the show tonight. I mean, this is the third edition. Unfortunately, well, I guess now fortunately, we wanted to make this a much bigger event this year, but you know, the universe had other plans. But we're here, and I think that this is actually great opportunity to explore new dimensions about how we present stuff and what we do. And I think that this is just it's amazing opportunity to see something from a different light. It's always been a pleasure I started many years ago. I used to say on my Twitter bio that I was probably the only one who got paid by the government to watch movies. But now it's further pleasure to sit here and to be part of this Nollywood in Hollywood. The whole thing has always been about how do we promote Nigerian cinema? How do we make it just exist outside of Nigeria? I mean, it's already doing great within the country, within Africa, but how do we find linkages with other places? So O2A is a great opportunity to do this. So I thank everyone for joining, and won't say too much, but so let's get set to watch the movie and then talk afterwards.
Cool. Thank you so much, Emeka, and thanks for joining from Nigeria. We've had some really cool support from NAPAC, which is the Nigerian American Pan Political Action Committee in California. They've been great in outreach for us for this event. And I want to introduce Mrs. Lara Okunubi. We call her Madam VP. She's a member of the Executive Council and and the inaugural Vice President of NAPAC USA. Businesswoman, Madam Okunubi, can you come on? Can you put your video on? And the other. So, Madam Okunubi, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Martin Luther King said, "Our lives begin to end when we become silent about things that matter." I'm very, very excited to be here. And I congratulate you, Mr. Osei, and the entire Nollywood cast for using this medium to tell our story, to amplify the truth, and dispelling the fake news that Mungo Park discovered Africa. We've been in existence full of riches and talent. So this movie, this platform, and everything that you guys are doing is very essential. It's the greatest leadership to take us to the next level, to let people discover that we're not daft. Maybe our skin may be dark, but there's a lot of riches, gold, silver, platinum, rhenium, and brain power coming from Africa, especially Nigeria. So I'm happy to be here, and I wish you many, many more success using this platform. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Okunubi, and thank you for all of your support. Now, I would like to introduce the director, a really nice person, and my brother, Akin Omotosho. Akin, can you take it?
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Osei, and thank you to the team, Nollywood and Hollywood, Alex, and all the members who put this together, acknowledging the two other films, the ones that played last night, and the other one that's going to play tomorrow as well. So thank you to everyone who's joined, and I really hope you enjoy The Ghost in the House of Truth. It was a very special film for us when we made it, and it's a great pleasure to share it with you guys, and looking forward to talking afterwards. So enjoy the movie. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for this very special Q&A with the cast and crew from The Ghost in the House of Truth. We have a great panel, and I'm going to just ask them all to turn on their video as we go. First, we have the director of the film, Akin Omotosho. We also have producer Ego Boyo. And then it looks like we have two of the stars of the film, Fabienne Logede and Kate Henshaw, joining us. And
hi there.
We get everyone. Kate, do you have your video too?
Yes, here I am.
Excellent.
How are you?
Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
A beautiful, poetic film, and I'm really glad that we were able to present this in our showcase.
Thank you.
Let me just start by asking a little bit about where the script came from. It's really such an elegant script to start with, and there's a variety of things in here that I think are interesting and maybe a little bit also unusual. I feel like I haven't really seen a whole lot of films lately with such a representation of the police in such a constructive way. And so that was a really nice thing to see play out, especially since we have Kate here as well. Maybe Akin and Kate, you two can talk a bit about how you wanted that to be portrayed.
Akin came up with the script. Where is he?
Yeah, I mean, the story by Brian Tilley and Roger Smith, and then later joined by Tracy Whitaker. In fact, Brian Tilley and Roger's script, the police officer was a man originally, and I felt that it should be a woman. And with Ego, we had made a film before, a film called A Hotel Called Memory. And when we were trying to find another project to work on, I presented the script. I said, look, I've had the script. So by the time I presented it to Ego, I'd had the script probably for like 11 years or something. And Kate is someone we wanted to work with. So we said, hey, well, Kate could play the part. And when Tracy came on, Tracy, tightened a few things, and Tracy added the element that the police officer should be pregnant. So I think in terms of just presenting the story, it was the idea of what is it like for someone who is in a system that partially corrupt and all this stuff, but there's one person who is so dedicated to this very impossible task of finding missing children, and we just felt like that was an important character to have. That this Auguste Stainless, as they call her, is really trying her best amidst these very overwhelming circumstances, and really trying to and grappling with, like, what am I doing? I'm bringing children into the world. Children are missing, and so yeah, just bringing it to that kind of human, emotional level. So I don't know, Kate can weigh in, and Ego as well. But yeah, that was the thinking.
Well, for me, visuals, I mean, film, very, very powerful tools to change societal ills. It's a mirror which we want to, show how we want the society we want to be in. And the police force, especially here in Nigeria, we want to show that every citizen is important. It doesn't have to be someone in government. It has to be every citizen that has an equal right. And that was why I really love playing the character of Auguste Stainless, because she treated everyone the same. It didn't have to be a high-profile person. Any citizen was entitled to the same amount of dedication that she put in her work. So that was why it was very personal for me. And also for the fact that she was pregnant, the emotions she must have been going through, trying to bring her own child into the world while dealing with the loss of another person's child. All those, came into play. I'm really proud of the movie, always.
I haven't seen a film that was set in the neighborhood on the water. And I'm very curious. We can all talk about the decision to shoot there, because, it's ultimately incredibly cinematic. And then, of course, there's also the extraordinary fact that you are actually having a chase sequence in there, and then also on the boats. So I'd love to hear about everyone's perspective. The decision to shoot there. What it was like to produce that sequence also, because you've got plenty of people living there, how that came into play.
I can speak.
No, Ego, why don't you start?
Where's Ego?
Me, why don't I start? You guys know, that was all Aki's decision to shoot in that community. I mean, we got, as he said, he presented the script, and it was now a case of where in Lagos. And he said from the offset that this was what he wanted to do. And as you said, cinematography there, incredible. You can see just how fantastic it looks just from above with those drone shots. So that was all Aki. And I know that the story for that chase, that community is incredible. It's a vibrant, thriving community. And a lot of the characters that you see in those scenes are actual people that live in that. They're not actors. In fact, Aki will tell you the story of the guy who was the villain, the rapist, the villain of the piece. And he actually is a real person. And so he will tell you about the chase. I mean, I don't know that anybody else can do it justice. I mean, Kate was there, but I know that
I'll leave our Kate to,
and just even the dynamics of just trying to be in that space,
Yeah.
But it had to be something. It was the kind of thing where it actually had to be somebody that lived there, worked there, lived and breathed those streets. I don't think that in any time we could have brought an actor who we would have had to train to be able to navigate those very narrow passages. So take it away. I can go on. Tell us.
Take it away.
Well, look, first, sorry, Alex, you can see by the fact that we're all laughing that it's look, first of all, shout out to Cabello Tate, who was the cinematographer.
Amazing guy.
And the team there. And as Ego said, that community was really crucial to our success. And we shot this film in 2018. But in 2016 is when we decided we're going to make the film. Cabello and I, we visited that community. And so we had already started making inroads 2 years before we got there, just to, you know, with the help of other filmmakers as well. So I want to shout out Femi Odugbemi as well, who helped us. So it was a real collaborative effort to try and go into the community, and we didn't want to be like, yo, this film crew is coming through. And so Shegun, who plays the actual, not Paul Fabian's character, who's murdered, the guy who's the actual culprit, he's a BMW specialist. That's why he can do all this stuff. And he lives in the community, and he was actually very helpful, even on days when he wasn't acting, helping us with the community. But here's the thing about that scene, Alex, and I think this is the beauty of filmmaking where miracles can happen. You know, we had one day to shoot that sequence, and a lot of what you see is true. So the people are there. You know, Kate, it's the first time Kate was in a boat. Never mind anything
ever
else.
in my life.
First time a boat on the river. And even the sequence when the boats, you know, there's no take two. It's not like we're going. It's not like we're going. Okay, everybody go back to first position. Let's go again. Every take is different. And because we had studied that community so well, the clashes of the boats we knew it would happen. So when you see that in that shot, that's not the first AD going, okay, you come and you come. That's life.
It wasn't planned. It
No,
was anticipated.
Well, it wasn't planned in the sense of how you would traditionally plan it, but we knew it was going to happen at some point, and we just had to be ready to capture that moment. So it was an important chase sequence, and it was important, but I think it spoke to the power of trusting everybody and just letting the environment dictate what would happen.
And also note that young girl actually is a member of the community. The girl who was rowing the boat, that is what she does.
Rows. That's her job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looked like she knew what she was doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
She's just 9 years old. She's 9 years old.
And she was 9 years old when we shot it. Yeah.
Since this is so this is inspired by, but not a direct adaptation of a real event, right?
So yeah. I mean, look, I think you know, we all know the tragedy of missing children and social, you know, justice issues, and I think all of us on this panel, definitely these are areas that concern us. And then as a filmmaker, I really like social thrillers, you know, where you can combine the issues with elements of the genre. So Brian and Roger wrote that story as a response to, well, what is it about humanity that, you know, so if you look at the character, the Bola character, her job is to reconcile perpetrators and victims. So you know, someone has killed your father, but my job is to try and reconcile, you know, restorative justice. So what happens when it's you? And so that question is actually is at the crux of that character. And then with Kate's character is the idea of, well, what child am I bringing into this world? And I think that's a universal theme, and I think that's what interested me when I first read the story. This idea of, well, what happens when it's you, and then the humanity and the empathy. You know what I mean? So I think that's where it comes from. But obviously, the idea of the tragedy of missing children, and as Kate said earlier, the idea that every life is important, no life should be left behind. So yeah.
Well, I'm curious because Fabian, I'd love for you to talk about your character, because the other two leads have a little bit more of a clear, like, driving force, because, you know, one is obviously trying to find her daughter, the other one's trying to, you know, help find the daughter. You need to communicate something to us that isn't quite as clear. We know that you actually wind up being an innocent victim, but we can't know that too early in the film, right? So tell us a little bit about the way that you approached it, because we need to believe that there is something that would drive the main character to think that you're responsible, and yet we know that you're not. So I'm curious how you prepare for that.
How did I prepare for that? Well, you know, it's weird when I read the script, and Aki and I had a lot of discussions about it, about how to play it, where you kind of need to tease that, could he have done it? But at the same time, you mustn't necessarily act as if you did it. So for me, I kind of also went back into my childhood. I was always that kid that shit would just happen and it would just point to me. Like I would just walk into a room and the light bulb would just kind of break. And it's gonna be at that time when everybody walks in, like, you did it, Fabian. You know, I'm like, well, I didn't, you know? So that kind of thing kind of played around in my childhood a lot. So it was easy for me to, in a way, just relate to that kind of character. And I think in terms of, it was difficult in a way that I wouldn't say I've been stereotyped in terms of characters, but I've always played the bad guy. So, so in a way, what I had to do was just remember how I've always played the bad guy and not play that, whether it's expression, whether it's movement. So it was about unlearning some of the things that I feel that people are used to seeing me play.
How involved were you in your wardrobe selection?
That was Yolanda.
I particularly love, yeah, it's the second full outfit that you come out with. So I'm very curious about, so this film is really, honestly, such a moving and poetic film, especially in its sort of symmetry with the main character. It defies a lot of sort of what we think of in terms of Nollywood's sort of, you know, sort of largesse, you know, longer films, you know, big plot, you know, this is very contained with characters that have, you know, very strong motivation, but it's a minimal cast by comparison. Can you talk a little bit about how a film like this is made in the context of the Nollywood industry and sort of where it goes once it's finished? I guess this is a director-producer combo.
A general.
But
There go, Aki.
Apologies, I was trying to respond to a question in the Q&A.
Sorry. Let me just also make a note of that. What we're going to do for the audience questions is anyone out there that wants to ask a question, just put it in the Q&A box. Yeah. And then in a few minutes, when I open it up, we'll invite you on to be a panelist for a few minutes so that you can actually turn on your video and we can actually see you and you can ask your question live.
Okay. Well, so whoever that's, I responded to 2 of them. So we'll hang around and we'll answer. So sorry, what was your question, Alex? Could you just repeat it?
So basically positioning this film within the context of Nollywood cinema, you know, what is the market? How does it compete with like the sort of big lavish comedies or you know, films that are sort of more sort of epic dramas? I think this film was excellent, and having a very tight, very moving story is very different from a lot of the films, you know, that I've seen from Nollywood that might be, you know, very large productions by comparison. Yeah. So I'm just curious from a producing standpoint and from a directing standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, you're correct about that. And it was, it's that whole thing where you want to make meaningful films that, as Aki mentioned, have some social interest and social justice area to it. And then also trying to balance it against what seems to be the acceptable productions. We love those lavish comedic performances in Nollywood, but a lot of films, smaller films with, you know, themes like this are also being welcomed and are doing quite well. But what we have found is that they do better when they are on platforms where people can relax and watch them. So they tend to prefer to go to the cinema to watch more big budget, not big budget, not necessarily big budget, but more lavish productions, more comedic performances and things like that. That seems to be where a lot of people are, a lot of people's interest is. And what we have seen with this film, and then with others similar to this that have come out, is that people want to, you know, when it's a thinking kind of film, people want to be able to sit at home, relax, and sort of get into it. So I think that it's interesting trying to position it, because on one hand, you have people clamoring for these sorts of films and saying that there are not a lot of these films in the cinema, and how we must do more. And then you do more, and then they don't clamor for it in the cinema. So it's, you know, trying to, you know, balance that against what you are trying to achieve. But I think that from what I have seen, it is definitely an area that is becoming quite popular for Nollywood filmmakers. We're trying to make more thinking, more just, you know, incredibly different genres from just, you know, comedy and maybe horror, and trying to divert, you know, just sort of branch out into other areas, and it's becoming more popular. But I will say in terms of where does it go from after you finish the film, I think more popular than ever are those platforms where, yeah, that is where they do much better than necessarily in the cinema.
So I'm going to start folding in some questions from the audience, and I'll probably jump in here and there throughout. But I wanted to basically just say I'll put a running order of people who can jump in.
Okay.
And I guess I'm going to start with this question from Mr. Gibson. So basically, I'm going to move you over. And then once you pop into the panelist side, just feel free to turn on your mic and your video, and we'll let you have your moment in the sun. Okay, if you're out there, feel free to go ahead and start your mic and your video. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey. So, thank you for having me here. I wanted to know, first of all, the whole movie was great, and I've been asking a few questions on the Q&A, and one of my questions was, what was the most challenging to Akin? What was the most challenging thing about shooting in that location? Because I've been watching documentaries about that specific location and stuff, and it was more about like the food there and stuff. So what was most challenging about it? And to Katie, I want to know, in what ways did you have to like stretch yourself as an actor for this role? That's what I want to know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the question. Look, every shoot is challenging, you know, but I would say that for us, like I mentioned, you know, we started 2 years before we shot the film. So we went in, you know, we wanted to make ourselves part of the community. So even in how we approached, you know, the camera we used a very small camera so that we never, the community never got a sense, they knew there was a film being shot there. But it was never like, if you've come across the madness of a film crew, you know what I'm talking about. Big trucks, all the stuff. We didn't have any of that. So it was very stripped down, you know? And I think that helped us be nimble with what we needed to do. And it allowed us not to disturb people's day. And I guess, you know, we had a very good locations manager, Imole, who we call MVP. And Imole would always go the night before, make sure he's chatted to everybody that we're coming. It was truly, how will I put it? Difficult is not the word I would use. I would say that because of the organic way in which we made the film, we're able to be in the community. Whatever challenges we had are the challenges you have when you're making a film and also the idea that there are always all these people, and how we made it work in the film. So when Kate is following Fabian, the people are looking at Kate because Kate is also very famous, but also she's a police officer. So it doesn't matter that the community is looking at her, because they would look at her as she goes. So we try to find ways in which the things that would ordinarily disturb you didn't disturb us, that it was part and parcel of it, and that it felt organic and it felt lived in. And so I would say that was, I wouldn't say the challenge, I would say the opportunity was to do that in a way that that we all felt part of the community. And I think that was what was really important to the film, and so yeah.
Okay, thanks for the question. Well, for me, stretching in the characterization, I mean, I'm a woman, I have a daughter of my own, and, you know, drawing down on the character being pregnant and thinking of having to help another woman in that position, or another person, but this is a woman also who has lost her child. I had to go deep into my emotions and put myself in her shoes, put myself in the shoe if I was really a police officer, how I'd really want her to get justice, you know, to find, hopefully not find that her daughter was dead. It was very real for me, and that was how I made it work, just putting myself in her position. It always works for me when I'm trying to put myself in a particular role, especially if I've had experience, so that helps. You know, when you're bringing your emotions and trying to put across, you know, the message in the movie.
I got you.
And just on that, one last point. The other thing we did stylistically was, in the film, you would notice the soft edges. So we used the tilt and shift focus, so that so what it does, hopefully, apart from just a very beautiful picture, it softens some of the hardness of the film. But it was also a way in which, if, for example, somebody's really looking into the camera in an inappropriate time, we could always fade that person out, because stylistically we'd constructed the film to you know what I mean, to work like that. So I think those are the ways in which we approached the opportunity of shooting in such a very diverse and vibrant community.
I got you. And how many days did it take you guys to shoot the film? Oh, sorry, I'm trying to grab my charger. How many days did it take you guys to actually shoot the film? And how many crew members was it? And how much of a headache did it cost you?
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you for staying on and watching the film. I think we shot for 28 days in total, or was it 29, Aki? Don't switch off your mic. You're going to be contributed.
Yeah, it was. Listen, it was between 25 and 28 days.
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
But in terms of the crew, I don't remember how many. There were a lot of people. There were a lot of people in the crew. I can't put the exact number to how many we had. We had an excellent crew.
Crew was very hardworking, amazing.
Dedicated, friendly.
Yes.
People from all over the world. We actually had a crew from Nigeria, South Africa, Brazil, America. What else am I missing? So it was a really great crew. It was a really great crew. Really
we became a family. We became a family, because I remember when Christian had to leave just before we wrapped, there were tears. We were all crying and all of that. It became very tight knit, from the PAs, the people who would serve the food, to anybody. I mean, it was a family. Indeed, it was. Yeah.
And also because we stayed about 10 minutes away from the location. So we stayed in a hotel. All of us were in the same hotel. So
everybody, everyone.
Breakfast, you're seeing everyone. Dinner. So it was a really special. It was a really special January 2018 making this film.
Yeah.
I love that. And also with the scripting, I think it's perfect. Like the binaries you guys used, a mom just lost her child, and the detective that's helping her is pregnant, expecting a child. The mom is the one that's reconciling prisoners with the offended victims' families or whatever. And now she ends up on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
And so like it's a lot of what do I call it? It's a lot of morals of the story in it, but what was the main controlling idea of the script and all that? Like what was the
before you answer that
portray?
I just have to quickly jump in. For anyone coming on next, we only have time for one question each. There's a ton of Q&A questions. So, okay, sorry, go ahead and answer.
I think is what Akin said in the beginning, where he said that the main focus in the script was this idea of justice, where this woman was reconciling perpetrators with the families of their victims, and then this now happened to her, and just how that, how you take this on and what you do in that instance. And I think that was the main thing, right, Akin? That was the main focus of the script.
Absolutely, I think you're right. Absolutely, and I think your observations are correct in terms of the pregnant woman, the mother. So yeah, absolutely, you got it, man.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, so I am gonna bring over Chris next. Okay, Chris, you should be on our side, so feel free to turn on your video. And
sure.
Just bear in mind, please just try and stick to one major question.
Sure, I'll do that. Well, I want to congratulate the whole team. It's thank you so much for bringing this movie, streaming it online. Actually, a year ago, I met Kate when she was in DC, and they streamed the Fourth Republic, and we were actually talking about the movie. I don't know if you remember me. I had the Omotola's last name on my tag.
Yes, Ekende.
Yes. It's nice to see you. And we talked about this movie coming out, and I was like, when is it coming out? And she said, it's coming on Friday in Nigeria. I'm like, when? So I'm glad to see the movie a year after it came out. My question for the movie, and I don't know if Akin can answer that or someone else, being that this is a remake, what touch did you add to the story or to the movie itself to make it unique, apart from the fact that the inspector was now a female who was pregnant? But what other touches do you have for the movie that makes it unique to the Nigerian context and makes it special, apart the fact that it came from it's a remake?
Well, thank you so much, and I'm glad that Nollywood and Hollywood is bringing people together from DC.
Yes.
And shout out to Ishaya Bako, Fourth Republic.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Look, I think Brian and Roger's script was already universal. So so for me, what attracted me was the fact that there's the universality of what they were writing. I just felt that. It's a feeling. I can't scientifically explain it, other than I felt like the police officer should be a woman, and that the script needed another level. And Tracy Whitaker, who was introduced to us by the team from The Mission, Andrew Coles and company, Tracy read the script, and Tracy was like, the lady should be pregnant. So again, it's an organic process. And then when we were bringing it to Lagos, it was like, okay, we should shoot it in Makoko, because every time I land in Lagos and I drove past Makoko, I'm like, we should shoot something in there. Something should happen. Something should happen in there. And like I said, with Ego, we had done a hotel called Memory, and we always want to continue to push ourselves as artists to bring something, universal, but at the same time specific to Nigeria. So Fabian with the cola nuts. They mentioned the wardrobe. I think what I love about Lagos is just that Lagos is loud, and we wanted to have an opportunity in the script to make Lagos quiet, but you still feel it in a way, So I think all those, just letting the environment inform our choices in how we presented the material, and just making sure that it felt authentic and that it felt that you were being taken into a world that you'd never seen. Not many people have seen Makoko in that light. I mean, I know there's documentaries and I know that Samuel Dugbemi made a romantic story there, but you don't really see that world. So we just wanted to contribute to that palette. And as Ego said, these kind of films, you know, when we were doing it, I mean, we started 2016, so that's almost 4 years ago. Yeah. You're seeing more and more of this stuff, more and more of these kinds of films, and I think that's exciting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's go over to Margaret. Hello.
Hello, Margaret.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Hi. Yes, this movie was absolutely, I loved it. It was so beautiful. And the story like broke my heart because it's like, I know that this is something that actually happens as well. So it just like, I don't know, it just added an extra layer of like, I don't know, pain to the actual story. But I think like everything was really beautiful with the color and the story, the cinematography, everything was like perfect. And yeah, I want to like, you know, just make sure, I'm sure you already know that, but yeah, it was amazing. And
thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
you. So my question is, so Akin, you said that you had held on to the script for about 11 years. I was wondering what was the reason or reasons for, you know, not making it sooner, or why now? Like what was my...
Yeah, you know, sometimes you're just sitting on these scripts for a long time, you know, and looking for the right opportunity that makes sense, the right opportunity that, that makes sense. You know, when your story was originally, when I first came, you know, the funding structure at that point didn't pan out, but I always liked the story, so I just kept it under my bed. And when the opportunity came, I presented it to Ego, and she was excited about it, and then that's how it started. You know, I always tell people, all of us have lots of stories. There are a lot of stories. So it's about which one, what's the timing, and are you mature enough? If we made the film in 2007 when I first got it, I don't think we'll be speaking, you know, I don't think we'll be here tonight. You know, I don't think the opportunity, so I look at it as each project will happen in its time. And when the time is right, that's when it's supposed to happen. So the sitting on it doesn't kill it. It's just about waiting for the right time.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, I just wanted to say one more time that movie was really touched my soul. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to welcome over Isoken next, but I also wanted to quickly read out a question from Lauren Rawlings asking for you to talk about the title of the film.
Yeah, I think everybody, I think Fabian, Ego, and Kate are also like, yeah, we also want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
No, man, I think, look, for me, it was always about, there's something that haunts people. So that ghost is obviously the trauma and the idea of all these missing children and whatever ails the society. I think that Nigeria, there's a lot we have to talk about. And so there are ghosts that haunt us. And then this idea of the House of Truth, which is, you know, from, you know, Kantemba, South African writers, House of Truth. So for me, in this film is an attempt to talk about the truth. So Stainless is somebody who is grappling with the society and how, and not in a beating your chest kind of way, but in a very introspective, in a very it's what we've been saying. How can I bring a child into this world knowing what I know? but yet I'm in this world and my wall is full of missing children. How do I have the conversation? How do I, you know, her and Bola have two very different. Bola is trying to reconcile the same community. How do we reconcile the community? Stainless is like, I've seen the belly of the beast, but I'm still here and I'm still trying to make it work. So I think that's what, for me, that's what the title speaks to. I mean, it's these ghosts and then this idea of at which point do we have the truth? And in this case, the August Stainless is right. The guy didn't do it. You know, he didn't do it. Someone else did it. And so those kinds of, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what the title is for me. And sorry to anybody who expected a horror film and then they're like, well, where are the ghosts?
Where are the ghosts? Where's Casper?
where's the ghost?
So I'm noticing that Isoken is having maybe difficulty connecting with any sort of audio. So Isoken, if you're out there, I'm going to leave you here as a panelist if you want to try and fix that. And in the meantime, I'm going to invite over Yomi and then Nkechi. Okay, Yomi, I do see that you're on our side, so take it away.
Yeah. Am I on? Yeah. Hi, guys.
Great name is all I'm saying. Yomi Black.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to meet you guys. Fabian, hi. Fabian is my friend. Antiago, great to see you. Aki, I'm a big fan. Kate, I love you too much. You guys made a great film.
Thank you.
You guys made a great film. I think it's really good. I enjoyed it. And so, but my question is really simple. I'm noticing this is the second time Ego and Aki would make an unpopular film. And I don't know how well you guys, how you guys are able to make your money back. So I'm wondering, is this a strategy or why are you guys making films that are not commercial? And because Nigerian filmmakers are always thinking money, 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 but it seems like you guys have a way of I don't know. Are you trying to? What are you trying to do with these unpopular films and with the continuity? Because I would almost give up if I made a film like this good and it's not making the most money out. You know, those are the kind of things that frustrates an artist like me. How do I balance making making great art and also making money? That's just right.
Isn't that the question? This is the question that we've been grappling with. We didn't have a mindset of, oh, let's do films that are not going to make money. Never. It was always, you know, the expectation is that you invest in it and that you get your money back. So the thing is, as filmmakers, as Akin said, and I think that's actually a crucial point, that at different points in your life as a filmmaker, you focus on different types of films. We've done the whole, you know, I've done romantic films, I've done big sort of romantic or dramas. And as you progress, you look at other projects and there are different things that grab your attention that, you know, you feel in your gut that this is the one to do. And so Ake and I, when we met, these are the films that we have, coincidentally, these are the films that have appealed to us at this particular time. And it's also the idea that you can make, you should be able to make great film and be able to recoup your investment in that way. So the plan was never, oh, let's make films that are not going to recoup our investment. We want to do that. And we want to be able to say that the industry stretches itself beyond just a particular genre of films. We should be able to do any number of genres, and those are they should do well. Based on what we keep hearing from different audiences saying, we are looking for films like this. We want to see different kinds of films. It can't be all this, it can't be all that. And then as filmmakers, you do want to stretch yourself beyond just one kind of film. So we have done that and we have made money. It might not have been masses of money where you can put it and say the top this, that, but we have made money. We have made some money back. And yeah, so that's what we're doing. I mean, balancing it has always been key. Being able to do both, being able to have great art, do great films, films that appeal to us as well, films that we can be proud of as well. Because that's, for me, that is important. And I know that's important for Akin, to be able to stand by the work that you do. I don't want to make films and then be ashamed to present them, or be hiding and just say, yeah, I was part, and yeah, we did, I don't want to do that. I want to be proud of the work, be able to stand by it and say, yes, I did that. We were part of this, we worked together. And then balancing it out, of course, with making money. So it might not be, millions, it's coming. And we're getting to that point where film in this country, in our country, Nigeria, and films that come out of our country will definitely be on the level that we are hoping it will be.
Well, sorry, can I just ask one quick question? What was the budget of the film?
Oh, I knew you were going to go there.
If someone didn't ask budget this night, if someone didn't ask, I
knew you were going to go there. It was just a little over $200,000, $200,000, which is conservative.
Dollars, so not naira, please.
It's conservative in the world.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Maybe Yomi wants to invest in the next film. That's why he's asking about how much he wants to invest.
I'm always willing to invest. Always.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. We're coming to you next week, Yomi. You said it out. So don't think I'm not coming. I have your number.
Nothing for Yomi Black.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm inviting over Nkechi.
Hi, can everyone see me?
Yes, and we can hear you.
Hey, thank you very much for this movie. It was really wonderful to watch it, and it was quite the experience. And thank you for being here to talk to us as well. My question is a little bit deviating from like the movie itself. So I know you have a long history of working in South Africa. I loved Fire. It was my favorite movie that year. So I wondered if this was a co-production between Nigeria and South Africa, and what you think the future for that, for more, I guess what I'm asking is more integration from the various industries on the continent, not just like Nigeria, but like Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Kenya, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always been those co-productions. I think if you look at Nollywood in particular, people go to Rwanda, people are making films in Angola, Nigerian filmmakers are always constantly, in spaces that I think that even though it's changing now with the proliferation of streaming platforms, you start to see those films. For a very long time, and Kate, Fabian, and Ego can speak to this, as far back as like 1999, I remember Nigerian filmmakers coming out here to do films. It's just that, they were doing it at a time when, you couldn't really see those distribution. And a lot of Nigerian filmmakers have actually come to South Africa and made films with South African talent. So I think, so that continuum is actually, that continues to happen. So it's not, I would say the only thing is that people don't get to see these films, or they're not publicized in the way that they should. But we know a lot of our colleagues make these kind of projects and collaborate across the continent in ways that, you always hear about the European co-productions, and that's always given such a big spotlight. But actually, if you look deeper in the box scores, you see that Nigerian filmmakers are in Ghana, they're in Rwanda, they're in Kenya, and so I think that in time all that's gonna get the spotlight that it deserves. And then for us with this film, like Ego said, it's Ego produced in Nigeria. There's a Ghanaian exec producer. There's an African exec producer. There's an American producer. So we brought the whole family together to make the film. So that's how we looked at it. To bring these very different cultures and spaces together to make this film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's bring over Michael. Moving over Michael Kulawole. You're here.
Hi.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Okay, hi. Okay, good evening. I must say I'm very, very happy to be speaking with Ketan Shaw, Aki, for the first time. I'm actually a very, very big fan ever since TMSS, Tell Me Sweet Something. Fantastic work. This particular film, fantastic. As a matter of fact, very, very quickly, I picked a little bit of meaning with the title. So I was listening to your interpretation of the title. So, and this was my own meaning. Okay, so there is the ghost, and then there is a house of truth. So my own meaning states that okay, we are all living a life of lies. We are all, we come out every day, and then we appear to the world. Okay, this is we have a facade, so to speak, but then until we face our own ghosts, we do not actually get to experience the truth about ourselves, which I think is exactly what happened with the protagonist, because, she comes out every day, she does her job. Okay, so reconcile, okay, yeah, that's it. But then until she was able to confront her own ghost, which was the scenario, before we now find out that, okay, there is no reconciliation as far as she's concerned. So fantastic movie. Fantastic. It touched me. But just two things quickly, actually, two things. Now, this is a social impact film. And I love the sound design, and I love the way the music worked. And I've been hearing, ever since this webinar started, collaboration, everybody, Brazilian, Nigerian, South African, and everything. So it is, for me, it's actually the first time that I would experience fantastic music score for an African film. Music, it's I actually look forward to sound design and music in a film. And I haven't, really been able to connect, because at some point we weren't hearing anything. So my question is this: okay, some of the people who worked on the sound design, were they Nigerians? And okay, if they were not Nigerians, does it mean that okay, it is actually going to be a bore if you want to really work with people who would give you fantastic sound design, fantastic soundtrack, who will actually sit down with you and score your movie? Because I haven't seen, a very, very well done work like this. So I don't know if you get my question. I love the music, but okay, do we always have to collaborate with people outside the country before we can get a fantastic music like this one?
Thank you for the question. And look, I think every project is different, and we definitely are not going to stay here. We all know the impact of our music in the world. So it's not like, do you know what I mean? Let's not sit here and be like we don't have the music capability. I just think it's about collaboration. So in this particular case, Marty, who composed the music, is Australian, from New Zealand, but lives and teaches in Japan. So, Guy, who did the sound design, is somebody that I've worked with on all my films. So, and we did a lot of the mixing in Nigeria. So there was that collaboration, and also even the music. I mean, I don't want to sing the songs, but some of the music is also selected by our sound guy Bode. He presented there's a Yoruba song that plays in the beginning of the film when they're driving. Bode on set said, "Hey, listen to these guys," and he played me that song. So Michael, I think it'll be simply we can't simplify it as it's everybody, and as filmmakers you take the best of both you take the best of what you need to tell the story that you
Yep.
want to tell.
Okay. So quickly, I want to
Oh, sorry, Michael. You lost your shot. Second question.
We actually attempted it, and guess what? Or let me say, guess who our number one problem was? The police themselves. That was our number one problem. So we want to make a social impact film about police, but then the police was our major problem. Now, so I want to ask, how did you handle, the police area boys, going into interior Lagos like that, and then you didn't have one area boy saying, "Hey, this is Ketan Shaw, come, I want to snap selfie." You understand? How did you handle that? And that's it for me.
I'll let Kate answer that.
What was that?
No, I think Michael, we said it. We don't mind saying it again. When you're going into a community, you can't come in. You have to come in on the humble. You can't come in gung ho.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come in on the humble, and that's what we tried to do. And I think Fabian was in Makoko, so Fabian must also speak about it. But I'm just saying, how do you deal with area boys and those things? I mean, you deal with them as human beings. You approach them in a way that makes sense. This is what we're trying to do. And how do we make the community feel affirmed? And how do we make the community feel part of the process? And I think that's really the secret. It's not. And obviously, you're doing the same things you're doing in other areas. So when you're using somebody's house, you're paying a location fee. When you're using a member of the cast, you're paying them. When you are in the area, you're contributing to what's going on. So it's not we're coming in and we're just shooting. We're coming in as much as possible. I say it's about communication really, and imole ayo.
Imole, yeah. You need an imole in your life.
Imole, Jamu and Lala, just and like Ego said, a great crew. These things are not. You can't skip any steps in what you're trying to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cairo, you should already be on our side, so feel free to jump in.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Cairo.
Hey, nice to meet you. Big fans of everybody here. So I'll just go ahead and ask my question because I know others are coming. I wanted to know what kind of stories you want to see coming from upcoming filmmakers. What kind of stories do you feel like our industries across Africa need to see?
Fabian, I've been talking a lot.
Where is Fabian? Fabian.
I'm here.
Okay, take that question, please. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, I can speak, first of all, as an actor and also as an African. Well, I think as an actor, I think we need more films from the new generation that actually challenge the actor in the sense that we are a continent, and particularly, even Nigeria, we produce the likes of Wole Soyinka, Femi Oshofison. When you look at the kind of stories storytellers we've been able to produce, they're very intellectual, right? Their stories are so deep, they're global, but at the same time, they're so rooted in our culture. And I think what I find missing, particularly from filmmakers, and I don't know, maybe it's more of a commercial drive, like Yomi was talking about, that our stories do not reflect the kind of literary depth that Africa has been known to produce in the past. So for me, I would say that there's genres, right? But we can't make a genre the whole genre for African filmmaking. So I would like to see a filmmaker with the depth of Soyinka, you know, but from a filmmaking perspective, right? Because I know that when you look at theater arts, if you go and study theater arts in Nigeria, there's no thespian that can't say he hasn't been challenged by the kind of work we've produced in universities in terms of writing, right? So I think that's one. Then on a personal level, I would like to see a lot more collaboration, you know, between the continents and also the African diaspora. There's no reason why, you know, we can't be making films with like your Spike Lee, and, you know, we need to connect as Africans and Africans in the diaspora. And when I say Africans in diaspora, I mean African Americans.
Oh, that was a great answer. I never really thought about things that way. Does Ego have anything to say? I actually want to hear what you have to say, Diego.
No, I mean, I agree with Fabian. We need depth in the work that is out there, more depth. We already have some of it, but it could be, there's a lot more. And I would just love to see fantastic stories. We have such a rich culture in Africa, and I just want to be able to have us explore all of that, to see as many different kinds of stories. The worst thing is for us all to be pigeonholed into one type of film, one type of genre. As Fabian said, there's just so much that we can do. We need to open up, we need to explore, we need to collaborate. And yeah, I agree with him on that. I just want to see lots of, you know, interesting, rich African stories from all over Africa, different countries. Yeah, we all have so many incredible stories to tell. So thank you for that question. And thank you for being on.
Okay, I have Taye already ready to go.
Okay, hello guys. Good movie. I really don't have a question, but just want to be able to thank you guys for helping propagate our culture. I belong to an organization. I live in San Francisco, and I belong to an organization called Nigerian American Public Affairs Committee. And one of our vision is to be able to promote the African culture, you know, and your industry, Kate, Akin, Fabian, and Ego have come a long way from the old VHS that we used to see. And now we have Netflix, and you know, almost every Friday, if you go on Netflix, there are new Nigerian movies that are on Netflix, you know. So that's really good for us as Africans, you know, because you know, it's helping promote a culture in general. And if you look at the American culture, which is pretty much what young people's culture, those are promoted by you know, the Hollywood, things like the jeans, you know, McDonald's and all those things. So I just want to be able to thank you guys for promoting the African culture. And also I like the Yoruba movie that you play at the start of the movie. That's a deep, deep Yoruba song. And I thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I believe we have, let's see if we were able to get Ngukwe. Are you out there?
Yes, I am. I'm so sorry. Hello, everyone. I enjoy this. You know, I work with kids out here in Los Angeles, and it was interesting to see, you know, this issue, you know, being tackled. But I mean, I'm not trying to criticize the film. I'm just saying that it would have been nice to see. Yeah, I would have loved
to criticize the film, but
yeah, but not like in a bad light. It's just an extra dimension to it, like statistical outlays of, you know, kids that have been, you know, that have gone through these issues, or if we have some form of statistics out there, maybe put at the end of the film. But more than anything, is a welcome development that we're getting to talk about, you know, these sensitive issues, and having our protective, you know, organizations take care of kids. And So that's a good one, and great performance from Ego and from Kate.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So that's basically it. So I wanted to like know maybe if at some point you researched and got some numbers about the number of kids that.
Yeah, you know what, you raise an interesting point, and I guess this is where we would come back to you and say the power of the story. So there are documentaries and there are institutions that's what they do. Their job is stats. Their job is the hard work. Our job as the artists is to tap into the emotion. So while the film is a social thriller and a social commentary, it's actually not a documentary. Do you know what I mean? It's to evoke something else in you. So to throw stats at the end of the film would be counterproductive to what ultimately we're trying to do, which is to tap into emotion. That when you watch the film, you are moved, and hopefully you're emotionally moved by the journey of these two women, and you are touched by the loss of this child. The first image of the film is this child. You see her first in a bus, singing with her friends, skipping home, free, and somebody is going to take this poor child's life. And I think that emotion is what we want to convey. The statistical aspect of it, there are people who do that job much better than us, but we're tapping into the emotion.
Great one.
I'm noticing that Isoken now has access to a mic. So I want to just, before we go to our last question from Yuko Babu, I wanted to just give Isoken one more shot at asking a question.
We got to welcome Isoken back, man. We're hanging in there. Come on, Isoken. Come on, man.
Let me see if I can just encourage you to turn on your video. No, going once.
Going twice.
Man.
Okay, well, I'm really sorry that didn't work out. But yes, now I'd love to turn it over to Ayuko Babu.
Hey, Ogata.
Ogata. Hello, Ogata.
Ayuko, how are you doing, man?
Oh, just enjoying your films. Sister Kate fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's always good to see the energy. Keep putting it out there. Keep sending it to us. We want to put it, it's fabulous. One of the things I wanted to talk about is that another aspect that over and beyond the policewoman having a moral compass that says that I want to try to make sure it's equitable for everybody and look out for everybody's child. There's also another aspect of the film that is what I call the cultural aspect, meaning that, for instance, the contrasted, as you know, with Black Lives Matter, Black folks are being shot down and killed every day in the United States. And very, very seldom you see a policewoman or a police person in the States stop those killings or even say anything about those killings. They go along with it. Now, what I maintain is this, is that what you showed in the film is, I see this all over Africa, is that the cultural space in Africa, you may have corruption, etc., but it's always in a cultural space where a policewoman exists. That kind of person exists. They've helped me out many times over the continent, and you've zeroed in on that positive aspect that she not only had a moral compass, but culturally, there's a cultural space that says, I got to look out for people. So one time I had a hassle, and somebody at the airport said, why are you messing with this brother? Let this brother come and enjoy himself in Nigeria. He just spoke up. So you're showing a cultural aspect of not just the personal cultural thing, but also there's a personal morality, but there's a cultural aspect that exists in Nigeria that people don't really understand exists across the continent. And that's a very important thing that you zeroed in on. And I think that needs to be shown, because people don't really understand that in the middle of whatever, you will find that kind of person there. So that's something I'd like for you to, Akeem, to explain, talk about a little bit, because everywhere that exists, and that's a wonderful thing that you elevated that and pointed that out, not just the personal morality, but also the cultural grounding.
Absolutely, and I'll also let Kate chime in, because even in terms of her characterization, there was I know there's a real person she also thought about. But Ayuko, so good to see you, and also thank you so much for everything you've done over the years, Pan-African Film Festival, and showcasing our work. So just to say, shout out on this platform to you as well. And I think just for all of us is the idea that there are people, and I know in my life, from my father and his friends, who some of them have lost their life, there are people who are in institutions where they're like, we don't agree with what's going on here. And okay, I might not be able to convince all of you, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna be the person. I mean, that's why her name is Stainless. Is that the idea of, like, she's known as the person who, you don't bribe her, you don't do this, and it's not like she's out there, like, you can see the wall. Those kids are missing. So she's so, and I think it's always important to shout out, in as much as you shout out the bad side of things, which have to be on a, they have to be exposed. I've always had an empathy, because I've seen it in my own life, role models in my own life who have fought against corruption, who have fought and paid a heavy price for fighting against it. So I think for me, that character is my own small way of acknowledging those people who I've seen lose their lives, or have to flee Nigeria, or have to go underground, or families are disrupted. She's the epitome of, I'm in a system that I'm still trying to fight against. And I think that's, nobody's saying she's correct, but she's definitely trying her best to make the system better, and to make, to as you say, equity. Let every life matters, no matter what.
Absolutely.
Kate, I remember we spoke about someone who you said inspired that character as well.
Yes. Yeah, in my work with some of the NGOs, I came across a female police officer. I mean, the perception of police officers here in Nigeria is quite pathetic, but I came across her. Her name is Dolapo. She's an inspector, and I was truly amazed. She was well-dressed, she's tall, beautiful, intelligent, and I'm like, this is how a police officer should be, and more so a female. So I also brought that into my character when I was playing Inspector Folashade Adetola Stainless. I could see her, sitting there just trying to do right by everyone who she came across, or who came to the police station seeking justice, seeking help, and to just be diligent. So that stuck in my mind as well. And I'm glad I had the chance to come across her before I did the film. It helped. It did.
And also the idea that she never gives up. So even though tragically the mom shoots the wrong person, the detective doesn't give up.
Right.
She, in the phone call when the guy says, we found it, it's the idea that she kept on. This thing is not over. I'm not just going to give up, in a place where a lot of people have given up. And I think that's why that character, as you say, and I really appreciate the question, because I've been surrounded by people who stood up to say no, and like I say, tragically paid a heavy price for doing that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.
Yes.
You're cool.
Yes.
Take care.
Yo.
Yeah.
Thank you for the spirit.
Thank you.
So I think we should probably allow you to enjoy the rest of your evening, since I know.
Thank you.
This has been truly amazing. I'm so proud you brought this exceptional film to the festival, and I really look forward to having an opportunity to bring you to campus at some point in the future for our next editions of the festival. And I should also just quickly remind everyone that's planning to log in tomorrow that we have Merryman 2 at 12 o'clock Pacific time, and we'll have our final panel discussion then. And I just highly recommend that everyone who can promote this movie, get the word out about it. Is there a way to see it outside of Nigeria right now?
That's soon, right?
It's coming. Look, it's coming. It's coming. There'll be a couple of announcements in a few days. We're working on a few things. I mean, I think that it's going to be at a number of other festivals as well, which are going to be online. So if you follow the Ghost in the House of Truth Pay Instagram, or Ego, Kate, myself, you'll get some more info on where it's coming, and we're hoping to bring it to platforms. And just from the team, we just want to thank you, Alex. Thank you, Ose. You guys have been great with the email reminders, with the whole thing.
Thank you so much for that.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you for the platform as well. And
absolutely,
really happy to share this film. You know, this film is still new. A lot of people haven't seen it, and we look forward to taking it, you know, further and further.
Absolutely. I really hope, if you let me know as things roll out, we'll be happy to help get the word out.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you. We're
grateful. Thank you for everyone who stayed on. And
thank you.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
I was trying to answer the questions. Is there some way of sending us some of those questions? Because there are quite a few questions.
There are.
There are lots of questions.
I have to say, it's rare that I can't keep up with the amount of things coming in. But today it was just.
So maybe afterwards, if we can somehow.
Yeah. So maybe email me for anyone who wanted a question answered, and I'll get it out to the appropriate panelists. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Have a lovely
evening. And bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye. We're loyal, sir. We're loyal.
We're full ground.